We are back. Top 10 best teams in the world right now. So this is a mixture of based on this season, based off overall how good they are as a team, based on what I think, the squads, the managers, this all comes into play. But it's just, if you ask me, who are the 10 best teams in the world? But there is a large element that is based off of this season, which is why a certain Manchester club might be missing from my list. You wait to find out. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Who are the best teams in the world? Obviously, there's a huge debate right now, obviously, with the Champions League. No one really knows. The Champions League is a lot about luck of the draw and whatever. So no one really knows who's going to win the Champions League. But people are saying, who's the best team in the world? Who's most likely? Who's the favourite for the Champions League? Which is why I'm making this video today. So let's jump straight into it. At number 10, I've gone with Paris Saint-Germain. PSG. Top of their league, right? Top of league, and as always, right? 5 points clear of Monaco. It's been a solid cruise control season there, even though they haven't had a good result in their last 2 Ligue 1 games, 2 draws in a row. That hasn't been great. And in the Champions League, they've actually struggled, right? They lost to Bayern. They got unlucky with the red card there, I suppose. And they sit 25th, which is actually outside of even the playoff spots. So that's really poor. But I think it'll be fine. I think they'll make it. I think they've got a good squad. I think they've been unlucky. They conceded a last-minute winner against Atletico Madrid, right? It's been unlucky for them this season. They've got a good squad. They've got a good manager in Luis Enrique. I just think that the team is a little bit inexperienced, like with the likes of, I think the midfield is really, really strong. They've got a lot of good midfielders. They never really know who to play, because they've got Fabian Ruiz, they've got Vitinha, they've got Zaire Emery, who I love, they've got João Neves, who I think is a baller as well. They've got so many good midfielders. And then going forward, the likes of Dembele, Barcola, who's had a really good season this season. The defence is a little bit questionable. Now, Marquinhos, I don't actually think is that great. I think that Thiago Silva was saving him a lot when they were playing together, and since then he hasn't been that great. I think Pacho has been a good signing for them, though. I think he's a very good centre-back with a bright future ahead of him. They've got Nuno Mendes and Hakimi. I think it's a good team. I think it's a very solid team, and I think they'll be fine. They'll progress. They still need to work out how to play together. Obviously, with losing Mbappe in the summer, that's going to take its toll on the squad. Getting used to playing without that star man to look forward to in front. Like the leader, the main man. Egung in as well, they've got a solid player there. Desiree Doué also breaking through this season, 19 years old. He's got a lot of talent. I think PSG are a good team, and I have them 10th place. In 9th, a team that destroyed Sparta Prague in the Champions League, Atletico de Madrid. I think these guys have been very good this year. I think that there have been times, obviously, right? They lost 3-1 to Lille. They lost 4-0 to Benfica. It hasn't been amazing for them at all times this season, but recently they've been in really good form. I think their squad is good. Diego Simeone, I think, is an amazing manager. They sit 3rd in La Liga, currently with 2 games in hand on Barcelona, 6 points behind, and 4 points behind Madrid, a game in hand on them as well. So they are seriously in a title race here, especially with Barcelona inconsistencies recently, and Real Madrid don't look on it this season. Atletico could be in a title race here, and they are currently, I would say. They've got a good squad as well. Julian Alvarez, the signing, obviously from Man City, big money move in the summer. He's been decent, right? He hasn't set the world alight, but I think he's been a good signing. Antoine Griezmann is just a ridiculously good footballer. One person who I do want to shout out this season for a really good year, Pablo Barrios, 21 years old, as a DM, centre mid, deep lying playmaker. When he doesn't play, they struggle a lot, and I think he's a very good player. Rodrigo De Paul as well. I think he's had a good season. Samuel Lino is a baller. I'm telling you, I love Samuel Lino. And I think it's a great team with a good setup, and they've actually been scoring goals this season. It's not typical Simeone style, right? They've peppered teams, right? Obviously, they beat Sparta 6-0, and then in the same week, they beat Valladolid 5-0, right? They beat PSG away from home, right, who I had in 10th. So, fair play. I think Atletico are a good team, and I think they're maybe getting underrated actually by some people. And in the Champions League, who knows how far they get. Simeone is a very good tactician, who's been to Champions League finals before. So maybe, who knows? They could be in for a deep run if they get the luck of the draw, I guess. In 8th place, Enzo Maresca's Chelsea FC, currently 2nd in the Premier League at the time of recording, which I didn't expect. I've got to be honest, I've got to hold my hands up. I had them 9th in my Premier League predictions. Obviously, I'll wait to see where they finish this season, but I really wasn't expecting this. And recently, they've been on fire, right? They beat Southampton 5-1 midweek And that was a really, really good performance. They beat Villa 3-0 as well, which was very impressive. Nicholas Jackson's had a great season. Cole Palmer has been unbelievable. Obviously, got him missing in a few big games. But the man I want to talk about, Moises Caicedo. If you've heard me talk about Caicedo before, you know how much I love this guy. One of the best midfielders in the world. You can make an argument that based off this season, he might even be top 3. I think he definitely could be, right? There's been a lot of good midfielders this season. He has been exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. I think that Cucurella has had a very, very good season. Lavia is a quality player. I think Pedro Neto's had a good season as well. I think what lets Chelsea down is, I would say, centre-backs and goalkeeper. I don't think they're Premier League title worthy. I don't think they are. I don't think you can win a Premier League title with Robert Sanchez in goal. I just don't think so. And I think there's still a few signings away, Chelsea, from really pushing for that title. But I think they're a really good team, and I have them 8th, and they've had a great start to the season that I just didn't expect. In 7th place, this one might shock people, but if you know ball, you know how good these guys are. Atalanta Bergamo, currently top of Serie A and 5th in the Champions League. An amazing season after winning the Europa League last year, beating the unbeatable Bayer Leverkusen from last year. Gasperini is really doing something special with his team. I mean, long-serving manager. He's been there since 2016, and I've always rated this guy as a manager. Always managed to get Atalanta into these positions, and now they're top of the league, battling with Inter and Napoli at the forefront of Serie A, and they've been amazing this season. They've been absolutely amazing. They beat AC Milan, right? They beat AC Milan a couple of days ago, 2-1 at home, which was very impressive in itself. They've had their Champions League games have been great as well, and they play Real Madrid midweek, so we'll see how they do there. They just don't lose, right? They haven't lost in a while. They obviously drew to Arsenal 0-0, right? They drew to Arsenal 0-0, which was a very good result. You'll see where Arsenal are, but they're above Atalanta in this. So that was very nice as well. Obviously, the Europa League last year that I mentioned. And I think overall, even player to player, I think they've got a good team. Charles de Ketelaere, fantastic season so far, right? Ademola Lookman has had a stellar season. I think the guy in the base of the midfield, again, defensive midfielder, Ederson, right? Liverpool wanted him in the summer. I think he's a top quality player. I think the defense is great as well, right? They've got Odilon Kusunu. They've got Isaac Hien. They've got a good team, right? They've got a really, really good team. And I think Gasperini is a fantastic manager. Atalanta, great season. I think they could beat Real Madrid midweek. They absolutely could. They absolutely could. And I have them 7th place. And if you don't watch them, get to watch them, because they play some of the nicest football as well. They went to Young Boys Bern and gave them 6-1. Amazing football they play. Really entertaining to watch. And I'm really excited to watch their game against Real Madrid. I think that one is going to be a cracker on Tuesday night. Moving in to 6th place, Bayern München. And I don't think they've had an amazing season, right? They're top of the Bundesliga, as they should be, right? They lead that by 6 points, which is not a shock. Vincent Kompany has come in after being relegated from the Prem as manager, and he's done okay with them. They sit 13th in the Champions League, so it's okay for Bayern, right? It's okay. But I think that some people might argue they're higher. I don't think they are, right? I don't think they are. I think that they have been getting bailed out recently by Jamal Musiala, right? In the Der Klassiker, scores a late equaliser against Heidenheim. It was 1-1, right? They were struggling. Musiala comes on, scores 2 goals, wins them the game, right? They went out of the DFB Pokal to Leverkusen. They beat PSG 1-0. I think that was a very lucky win. And I think they have very good players, and they should be doing better. And I think, again, that's a managerial thing. Kompany's young, he's inexperienced, he's learning on the job, and I think that will come, right? I think Bayern will get better. One thing's for sure, they have to win the league this season. They cannot let anybody else win the league, and Harry Kane obviously needs to get that trophy. Harry Kane is obviously now currently injured, so they are playing without him, so I guess that's one thing that you can kind of give to them. They're playing without their main number 9, their star man. But I think Musiala's had an excellent season this year, like always. Michael Olise's had a really, really good season. I think he is a fantastic player. I think that defensively, they've been solid, right? They've been okay. They haven't conceded that many goals, right? They've got the least amount of goals conceded in the Bundesliga, but obviously that's expected from Bayern, let's be honest. And in the Champions League, it's been mostly okay, but that 4-1 loss to Barcelona still reminiscent in my brain. Like, it was a really, really bad game performance, that conceding 4 to Barcelona in a game where they realistically could have done Could have done better, but they also could have been. They were also a little bit lucky that Barcelona didn't score more. So I have them in 6th. I think that's perfect for them. 5th place, the team that they actually beat in the quarterfinals of the Champions League last year, Arsenal. Arsenal in 5th. They're 3rd in the Premier League. They've had a good season so far. They've got a good squad. Obviously, we know about that defence. Saliba, Gabriel, Raya in goal. From set pieces, they're a joke. Saka, Odegaard. It's an amazing team. It's a good setup from Arteta. But I don't think Arsenal have as much X factor as the teams I have above them. Now, obviously, that could maybe go against with one of the teams I have above them, right? That could be a contradiction. But I don't know whether they have what it takes in the Champions League. I think in the Premier League, they're certainly in a title race and they could win it. But I don't think this team has that much X factor. But I do think they're really good. They're really solid. They know how to grind out victories. They're a proper old school team. They've got Nwaneri shining through as another young talent, so they've got that element there as well. And I just think it's a really good team. I think it's better than any team I've mentioned so far. I just have 4 teams above them that I think are slightly better. But if this was who would win in a Champions League game, I think Bayern would beat Arsenal in a Champions League game. But I think Arsenal are a better team. You know, it's just the Arsenal in Arsenal. You know, that's something that just can't. That I can't get away from. They're still Arsenal. So in the Champions League, I wouldn't fancy them. And they don't have that as much X factor as Bayern Munich with someone like Musiala, who is the definition of X factor. But I think they're a really good team, defensively really solid, one of the best in the world right now, and I have them 5th. In 4th, I have Real Madrid. Real Madrid, what a season, what an interesting season it has been so far. Because Real Madrid fans are really frustrated. They're 2nd in La Liga, though, only 2 points behind, and with a game in hand. And if they win that game in hand, they go top of La Liga. But in the Champions League, they're 24th, right? It hasn't been good there for them. Mbappe's had a very poor start to the season. Overall, I mean, I think, like, if you talk about some players who also have had poor seasons so far, I think the entire defence. Rudiger, not been at his best this season. Ferland Mendy has been shocking, right, this season. I think that the only real bright sparks for them, I think Bellingham's been good. I think Valverde has been amazing. Camavinga's been class. And I think that's really it. I don't think anybody else has really... And Thibaut Courtois has had a very good season. But I don't think Real Madrid have really blown me away. But they're still on course to be first in La Liga. They beat Girona 3-0 last night. Right, so that was impressive as well. Carlo Ancelotti hasn't got it right this season. I mean, obviously the 4-0 Clasico loss was a disaster. Absolute disaster. But yeah, I can still think that Real Madrid can go in the Champions League. It's really, really interesting. And I think that as the season progresses, maybe they work it out with the chemistry. Maybe they win the league. Who knows? That's going to be a really interesting title race in La Liga. And we'll see how they do in the Champions League. But right now, I have them 4th best. I think based off squad, they're probably number 1. But I have them 4th best based on how they're performing. In 3rd place, the reigning Scudetto champions, Inter Milan. I have Inter in 3rd, and they're also 3rd in Serie A, but they're very close to the top, right? I think they're the favourites to win the league still this year in Italy, but I think that's another really fascinating title race. 3 teams all in the space of 3 points up there, with Napoli, obviously Antonio Conte's Napoli up there as well, and they beat Arsenal, right? Inter Milan, they beat Arsenal, they beat Leipzig as well, 1-0. In the Champions League, they've been really, really solid, right? They drew with Man City when Man City was still playing well, right? They've got Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram up front scoring goals. The midfield of Çalhanoğlu, Barella has been amazing with Mkhitaryan as well. Dimarco, I think, has had a good season. I think the defence, I think Bastoni's been unbelievable for them this year. I think Simone Inzaghi is an amazing tactician. He's got them to a Champions League final before. And I think they're just really, really solid. I think they are very similar to Arsenal in the way that they play. And I also don't think they have that much X factor. But I think they're just set up really well. They've been to a Champions League final recently, and they could get there again. They're 3rd favourites currently to actually win the Champions League. And I'm not shocked by that at all. I think they're a really good team. I think they're probably going to win Serie A. Right, we'll see how that goes. And they could definitely make a deep run at the Champions League. Definitely. So I think Inter Milan are amazing. I think they're a really good team, and I have them 3rd, which leads us to the top 2, and we all know who those 2 are. So in 2nd place, we have FC Barcelona, and in 1st place, the mighty Reds. We are the best team in the world right now. But let's start with Barcelona. Top of La Liga. Hansi Flick has done an amazing job. I know recently the results haven't been great, but obviously Lamine Yamal's been out injured. But overall, throughout the season, The fact that in the same week they beat Bayern 4-1 and then Real Madrid 4-0. Amazing. Absolutely ridiculous. Lewandowski, Rafinha, Yamal. That front three has been a joke. Pedri this season. Oh my God. Oh my God. Best midfielder in the world this season. Best midfielder in the world this season. Unbelievable. I think the defence. I think Pau Kubasi has been a top 3 centre-back in the world this year. Balde has had a great season. Who else have I forgot to talk about? Casado, Koundé, the whole lot. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think Hansi Flick, the job that he's done is unbelievable. People are saying they are the best team in the world. I have the Reds, I have us just above them, but I think they've been amazing. Recently, obviously, slightly shaky, but they'll get back to it. No problem. They've got an amazing team, and I think they are definitely looking to win the Champions League this year. Definitely. They have to be looking at that trophy, thinking, we have got a good chance of this. Just like the number one, the Reds have got no money, but will still win the league. That is what we are. Arne Slot. No money. No signings, apart from Chiesa, who hasn't even played. And he's transformed us, and we're top of the league now. We're top of the league by 7 points at this stage of the season, ahead of Chelsea and Arsenal. Right, the game got called off this week, the Merseyside derby, which I was really annoyed about. That was a chance to go 10 points clear. Right, we're in December. Right, the season that we've had is amazing. Right, top of the Champions League, winning every single game, beating champions of Spain, Germany, England. Right, Leverkusen, Madrid, City, all this season. I don't know what to say. Van Dijk has been the best centre-back in the world this season. Salah's been the best player in the world this season. I mean, like, Luis Diaz had an amazing season. Gravenberch, McAllister, Trent, everybody has been unreal this year, and we are still continuing. Right, we've lost one game this season, which was the Forest one. We dropped points against Arsenal and Newcastle as well in the league with draws, but I wasn't really annoyed at either of those draws. We played well, right? And we have this, like, we control games now, but we create chances as well. I think I'm loving life as a Reds fan right now.